Okay, so let's talk about something uh, really interesting today. Those difficult feelings we all get.
Yeah, the stress, the anger, maybe sadness, fear.
Exactly. What if, and this is kind of a big what if they aren't actually a sign that, we're the problem, that we're broken somehow?
Right. What if they're pointing to something else entirely, something outside of us happening right now?
Yeah, it really challenges that impulse most of us have, I think. You feel bad, and the first thought is, okay, how do I stop feeling bad? Fix the feeling itself.
Mm-hmm. We jump straight to managing the discomfort, right? Or suppressing it, asking why me, but really meaning make it stop.
And by focusing just on getting rid of the feeling, the idea here is maybe we're actually missing the whole point,
Mm-hmm.
missing the information in the feeling.
Yeah, that these difficult emotions can actually be like, well, warning signals.
Warning signals, okay.
Yeah, telling you pretty clearly that something in your life, maybe your circumstances, needs you to pay attention
Mm.
or needs to change. The feeling isn't the mistake. Maybe the situation is.
Like a smoke alarm. The alarm itself isn't the fire, but you'd be crazy to ignore it or just try to silence it without checking for smoke.
That's a perfect way to put it, yeah. The signal's there to get you to look at what's actually happening around you.
But it gets complicated, doesn't it? Because feelings, especially strong ones, are often tangled up with our past, with
Right.
trauma.
Oh, absolutely. Our history shapes us, no question. And you see this even with people who've done a lot of work, on childhood stuff, even looking at family patterns. They can still get hit by these intense feelings and just desperately want them gone.
So even after healing work, the struggle continues. And if you look closely at what's happening in their lives now,
Well, this is where it gets quite striking, how often these persistent, difficult feelings are actually tightly linked to current situations, relationships that are, genuinely not working, maybe inconsistent, maybe unsafe.
or even openly abusive sometimes.
Yes, and that's often the uncomfortable truth.
So, if the feeling is a logical response to a present problem, why is it so hard to see that sometimes? Why do we tend to look inward first, thinking it must be us?
Because, well, acknowledging the current situation as the source of the pain would mean needing to do something about it. It would require setting boundaries.
Ah, and that's the sticking point.
It often is, especially, for anyone who had a difficult childhood where maybe their boundaries were constantly crossed by people who had more power, parents, caregivers.
So the whole idea of saying no or creating distance, defending yourself, it feels dangerous, forbidden even.
Exactly. Deeply unsafe. So the unconscious strategy can become, okay, I just need to manage this awful feeling inside me. Sometimes people even think that's the healing work, focusing only inward.
While staying in or protecting the very kinds of relationships that are causing the pain in the first place. Repeating a pattern.
Mm-hmm. It's understandable, really. It's an old survival pattern kicking in, adaptation. But as an adult, it's an avoidance strategy that keeps you stuck, not the path to real well-being.
So, okay, let's flip that. When difficult emotions are actually grounded in what's happening now.
Then they have a vital job to do. They're motivating you. They're supposed to make you uncomfortable enough to change what isn't working, what isn't serving you. They kind of bring that echo of past danger forward, but as a signal to act differently this time.
Right, but that's also where it can get really confusing, especially if someone else is involved who doesn't want things to change.
Oh, absolutely. Manipulation can really muddy the waters here. It's incredibly hard to trust your own gut, your own feelings, when someone, maybe someone dominant or controlling, is actively telling you that your feelings are the problem.
Like you're overreacting or you need therapy instead of looking at their own behavior.
Exactly. Invalidating your emotional reality is a really powerful tactic to keep you questioning yourself, keep you stuck.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. So this brings us to a really key point, doesn't it? A fundamental distinction.
It really does. It seems like there are basically two very different scenarios to think about when you're grappling with these kinds of hard emotions.
Okay, this feels important. What are the two scenarios?
All right, so scenario one. Let's say you're in a situation that objectively is safe. Right now, in this moment, no one is actually harming you, attacking you, crossing major boundaries.
Okay, the external reality is stable, fine.
Right. But internally, you're feeling intense fear, maybe a crippling fear of intimacy, or you just have these huge, dramatic reactions to things that, well, normally could just be talked through calmly.
So a big internal reaction that doesn't quite seem to match the external trigger.
Precisely. In that kind of situation, those big reactions probably are tied to older wounds. Maybe from childhood where needing closeness was actually met with punishment, or where expressing yourself felt really unsafe.
Got it. The past is strongly echoing in the present, even though the present is okay.
Exactly. And here, doing that inner work, looking at projections, seeing the past and the present where it doesn't belong, or recognizing old suffering scripts about relationships, that makes perfect sense. That kind of healing can really improve things.
Okay, clear. That's situation one. What's situation two?
Situation two is, well, it's different. This is when someone in your life is actually actively doing harm. They're lying to you, maybe cheating, constantly putting you down, treating you disrespectfully like an object.
So there is objective harm happening right now.
Yes. And in this situation, your feelings, the stress, the tension, the anger, the fear, maybe feeling frozen or just deeply sad, those feelings are not only understandable, they're justified.
They fit the reality of what's happening.
Exactly. So the message here is your feelings aren't what need fixing. What needs to change is, well, it's your boundaries. It might be the people you're letting get this close. It's the situation.
Because that stress and tension is your body, your whole system, basically screaming danger about what's happening now and what might happen if it continues.
Precisely. And here's the real danger, the trap we can fall into. When I convince ourselves that this totally justified response to current harm is just, oh, that's just my trauma acting up again.
So you label a present-day warning signal as just an old echo.
Yes. And by doing that, we fail to see it for what it really is. A vital alarm bell trying to prevent another trauma or stop a current harmful situation from getting even worse.
So you end up trying to heal yourself internally for a problem that's actually external and needs external action.
You got it. And this often ties back to that really deep feeling of helplessness.
From childhood again?
Often, yeah. Rooted in those experiences where you truly were powerless. You couldn't control things, couldn't defend yourself.
You learned that reacting didn't work.
Right.
Or made things worse.
Right. So that pattern of not reacting, of staying passive even when someone's treating you badly now, it can become an unconscious default mode in adulthood.
Even though you do have choices now that you didn't have as a kid.
Exactly. That passivity might have been necessary for survival back then, but now it actually gets in the way of a healthy adult life. It's not strength or maturity to just take it. Often it's fear. It's a lack of belief in your own power, your own agency.
Okay, so how do we break that pattern? How do we move from that learned helplessness towards agency? You mentioned power in action.
Yeah, it seems reclaiming your power starts with acts of will, even small ones. Taking care of yourself, especially when things feel like a crisis because of these situations. And fundamentally, it's about owning your right to feel. If someone is crossing your boundaries, treating you poorly right now, you have every right to feel stressed, angry, scared, shut down, sad. Those feelings aren't wrong.
And if someone tries to tell you they are wrong, that you're the problem for feeling that way.
Well, that itself is another violation, isn't it? It's a way of controlling the narrative, controlling you. Those emotions exist for a reason. They're telling you something is deeply wrong now. That maybe you're being mistreated again, just like in the past, but it's happening in the present.
Wow. So the crucial insight then is maybe you can't just will yourself to feel differently in a genuinely bad situation.
Right. The feelings are a natural response.
But you can make different choices about how you respond, what you do, compared to when you were younger and didn't have those options.
That's the absolute key difference. That's where the power lies. Instead of making your feelings the enemy, the thing to be fixed, you listen to them. And you transform that energy, that signal, into action.
Action, okay.
That's what your body needs. That's what that inner part of you, the one that was hurt before, needs now. It needs you to act, to defend in the present.
So the goal isn't to somehow silence that inner voice or the difficult feelings it carries.
No, not at all. It's about defending it. It's like taking that younger part of yourself by the hand and showing it.
Showing it that things are different now.
Yeah.
That you have agency, that you will protect both of you.
Exactly. Showing it through your actions.
This really does shift how you might think about difficult emotions. They're not always just symptoms of something broken inside us. They can be really vital messengers.
Alerting us to what's happening around us, what needs our attention, maybe what needs changing.
And figuring that out. Is this feeling mostly an old echo reacting in a safe present? Or is it a justified alarm about something genuinely harmful happening right now? That distinction feels incredibly powerful.
It really is, because knowing the difference tells you where to focus your energy, doesn't it? Is it primarily about inner work right now, or is it about setting boundaries, making changes in your external life?
Or maybe both,
Yeah.
but with a lot more clarity about why you're doing each one. It gives you back that sense of agency, of choice.
It changes the core question, instead of just how do I make this feeling stop, it becomes, okay, what is this feeling actually telling me? What needs to shift, either inside me or out there?
Absolutely. And recognizing that difference seems like the crucial first step towards responding effectively, not just reacting based on old patterns. It's about using the emotion, not being used by it.
Well put. Allowing it to guide informed action.
So maybe the thought to leave you with today is this. The next time you're hit by a really difficult emotion, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, based on what's actually happening around you right now, is this feeling mostly an old wound needing comfort and care, or is it a critical warning signal demanding action in your current life? How might really seeing that difference change your very next step?